This is John Cola with GrowingYourGreens.com of another exciting episode for you. We're here on another field trip, and this is going to be definitely a fun one at that. We're here at D&D Family Farms. They have a produce market, U-Pick, and petting zoo. We are here in Palm City, Florida. It's probably about a half hour from West Palm Beach, and we're on what's called the Treasure Coast here, part of Florida. It's an amazing place. Now, the reason why I'm here today is to share a few cool things with you. Number one, the D&D Family Farms. Now, this is a family-owned farm, and this is like farm entertainment, farmutainment. This is like going to be a mini Epcot one day with like things growing, teaching kids how food grows, but also getting kids back to nature. They have like a bamboo maze going in, a little train, all kinds of cool games and rides and things to do for kids to keep the kids entertained. Plus, they have a nice area for, making a picnic, even having weddings out here. Now, this is a 57-acre farm, and besides all the cool things they're doing, they're also actually growing food for the local area. And they're doing this in a few ways. Number one, they have the open field culture, so they're growing foods in the field. They also have greenhouses, and they just recently started some hydroponic systems to grow food that they wouldn't normally be able to grow outside in the field. So today what I'm here to show you guys specifically is, how they're growing food under the vertical hydroponic system. That's the most exciting thing that I want to share with you guys. But before we do that, I want to just go ahead and give you guys a quick tour of how cool this place is. If you are anywhere in South Florida and you got kids, you definitely want to bring them out to this place because they will definitely have a blast. I mean, I know I would if I was a kid. So next, let's go ahead and take a look at some of their fields where they're growing some of the crops and share with you more about it. Now we're at the entrance to the farm here, and the hours of operation are Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5:30, and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. So they are open every single day except Christmas and Thanksgiving, and that's because the plants never stop growing, so they always got a job to do here, but of course they got to take just 2 holidays out the year. So next, I guess let's head to the field and show you guys what's growing on. Now we're in the field here at the farm, and I'm going to just show you just a few of the row crops they're growing. Now, as you can see here, they got some speckled lettuce here, which because of the nice, humid, hot weather here in Florida, now going to flower and bolting, which means it's at its end of its productive life cycle. While it does still have leaves on here, and while you can eat the leaves, they get kind of bitter when they're bolting, so no farmer in their right mind would normally sell that stuff. But here at D&D, this is a U-Pick, so if you choose to U-Pick the bolting lettuces, you can definitely buy them. And one of the secrets is, because this is a U-Pick, you want to come here when the lettuce is done flowering and seeding, and you can literally buy the one lettuce plant with seeds already to go. So that'd be kind of cool. But besides the lettuce that they're growing in the field that's not doing so well, we're going to take a look at some lettuce growing not in the field that is doing amazingly even in the hot weather here. Aside from that, here in this field, they got some kohlrabi growing. And you can see this little kohlrabi right here. Now, kohlrabi is a cruciferous vegetable, and it's been shown that some cruciferous vegetables have anti-cancer properties, which is really cool. What many people don't know is because the kohlrabi is normally sold for the kohlrabi elongated stem, which is right here. It's not a bulb, it's the elongated stem. It's kind of like eating broccoli stem. It's one of my favorite things to do. I like to actually peel the kohlrabi, cut it into chips, and dip it in some guacamole. It's so delicious. And I also want to remind you guys that you can eat the kohlrabi leaves. The kohlrabi is in the same family as the kale and the collard greens, which are the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. That means they have a lot of nutrition without a lot of calories. In standard America today, most people eat things like McDonald's, which have a lot of calories, but not a lot of nutrition. The leafy greens like kohlrabi, kale, collard greens are the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet with the least amount of calories. So this may be beneficial if you're trying to get healthier and lose weight, whatnot. The way I like to use my kohlrabi leaves is by usually juicing them or blending them. That way I get more greens in me so that I can be healthier. Next, let's go over to the field over yonder, and man, there's just acres and acres and acres of fields here. Won't be able to cover them all, but I think we're gonna check out the squash next. They look nice and beautiful. And now I'm sitting down in the field of zucchini squash or summer squash. I mean, this place is so huge, it just goes on, and I mean, every different area, they got different stuff growing on. Now, 2 things I want to point out here. Number 1, they got the summer squash, and these guys look quite dainty and quite delicious to me. Summer squash, some of my favorite things to eat actually. And here's one little baby right here. Now I like to harvest these when they're younger because they're a lot more tender. Definitely good roll here. When they get bigger, they get more mature, and then I'd probably save them for seed, or actually the summer squash, actually, if they get really large, you could actually save them over the winter. I just recently opened up and juiced one of the summer squashes that my friend grew from last year, just now. So it's really amazing, these plants. One of the favorite ways I like to use the summer squash is harvest them when they're just about maybe this big, maybe a little bit younger, or the zucchini squash. Here we have a yellow squash. And I like to do what's called spiralize them. The spiral slicing tool, which is available at discountjuicers.com, will literally take zucchini squash and turn it into little noodles out of raw zucchinis. This way you could eat more of the vegetables out of your garden instead of having to buy the pasta, and just make a pasta sauce out your tomatoes that you grew. Excellent way to include more of the homegrown foods, the homegrown goodness that you're growing, and get them into you. Because most people usually just think about grilling up their zucchinis, but there's other ways to eat them as well. Next thing I want to talk about is how they grow here. The old adage that I'm thinking about is you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So they've been growing here since like the 2000, and they've used conventional standard agriculture because that's what they learned there. And so they use a non-organic fertilizer here, but then 99% of what they spray now is organic actually. And that's because the owner here actually has sensitivities to chemical pesticides now because of probably his long-term exposure to them. So slowly he is adopting a more natural growing system. Now the question is, John, would you eat that food? Absolutely. You got to do the best you can. Now if he was spraying non-organic pesticides, then I would not eat it, but he's spraying, the majority of what he's spraying is organic. So I definitely like that a lot. Another thing he's not doing, he's not spraying things like Roundup in between his rows. As I don't know if you guys can see it, but in between the row that I'm sitting in is just a whole bunch of weeds. He probably comes by and mows the weeds and lets them grow back up. They act as a nice mulch to hold the water, but also they're a very valuable food source and, more importantly, income source for him. I could be thinking, John, how is weeds an income source? No, he's not growing that kind of weed. He's growing these kinds of weeds right here. And here's a weed that he actually will sell, and this is a U-pick place. So one of the things I like about this U-pick place is that he'll let you come out and pick anything you want. Some U-picks are only like, oh, you can only pick the strawberries, but we harvest the greens and the zucchinis. No, you could come out here and pick anything you want, including the weeds. This is called purslane here, and it's one of the leafy greens that have the highest level of omega-3 fatty acids, and you could pick it and buy it by the pound. At present time, it's only 99 cents a pound, and that's an amazing price. It's quite good. It's a succulent. I love purslane. Definitely really good. It's quite unfortunate that in places in California, when you go to the farmer's market, like the high-end farmer's markets, you'll see purslane selling for $8.99 a pound. He's charging only 99 cents a pound here, and he's got acres of the stuff, literally, for the picking. So I want to encourage you guys to, pick the purslane if you come here, but also be sure to grow it yourself. It will grow very easily in your garden. He's just growing the standard variety of weed purslane, but they do have edible varieties that actually grow more upright and form bigger leaves than the standard stuff they got here, but it's definitely all good to eat. Now we're gonna look at another crop he's growing here in the fields, and this is the snow peas. These snow peas, they look fabulous, really healthy plants that are actually still in their flowering state here in the end of April. We're gonna go ahead and pick one of these guys and try it. I love my snow peas and my sugar snap peas, but I could definitely tell you that nobody's grown them any better than the ones I've grown. They always taste the best, the ones I've grown, because I make sure my soil has everything it needs to make them taste good. And we're gonna give these guys a taste test. Nice and crunchy, average flavor. Definitely better than some of the other ones that I've had in Houston recently and in other farms, but not quite as good as mine. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit, on how to really make the taste sensations in your mouth of the food that you are growing can taste much better. But these, definitely the best thing I've tasted so far on the farm. If you come out, you definitely want to get some snow peas. They're delicious. All right, so next we're gonna go ahead and look in this hoop house here. Now they grow in many different areas here. I mean, most of the crops and what they're growing is in the field, but they do have a hoop house to control the environment. That can be especially important here in South Florida, where the weather's so hot it's really humid and they get strong winds. So the hoop house will protect the plants from some of the strong winds, but it'll also give it a little bit of extra heat when they need it. They could also put, a shade cloth up over the top to keep it a little bit cooler. Now the hoop house that we're gonna see, what they're growing inside is they got all these tomatoes trellised up, and the farmer originally planted the tomatoes and they weren't doing well. But the lucky thing for him is a local salesman selling a local natural product actually to add to the tomatoes said, hey, I could bring these guys back. So, with this product, without doing anything else, these tomatoes look fabulous. So let's go inside and show you guys how the tomatoes look now and the product that we used to bring them back to life, literally. Now I'm actually sitting in the greenhouse amongst hundreds of healthy tomato plants. And man, I haven't got any tomatoes myself yet this year because it's a little bit too early on the West Coast. But man, I love the smell of the tomato plants and tomatoes ripening on the vine. So as I had mentioned earlier, the farmer planted these guys. They just were not doing well, and all he did was he planted in this, literally the sand here. I mean, this is literally sand. This is a fallow land, so he actually put this plastic down, dug a hole, planted the starts, and put some fertilizer in to start with. Basically the plants didn't make it. They looked like they were just not going to make it. Fortunately enough for the owner here, a local salesman selling a natural product, said, hey, let's try this product on these tomatoes that the farmer was going to pretty much write off, pull up, and start anew anyways. And this is the result. By just adding some simple organic nutrients to the soil here, which is, in my opinion, not even soil. This stuff is sand, man. Look at the results. I mean, so it's really cool that the farmer was open to adding this new product, and this new product is a 100% natural organic product. So this actually is the stepping stone for the farmer to even, go further into growing organically and naturally, because if you do it the right way, it can definitely work and actually be quite financially viable on a big scale, as many of my home gardeners have found out is what I teach, and it works so good at home, and we need more large farms to be doing this and adding some of these nutrients back into the food. So what we're going to do next here is pick actually one of these tomatoes. It looks like they just did a harvest today, but this is a nice, pretty dark red tomato. And let's go ahead and try it. This is probably the first tomato that I picked myself this year and ate. It's definitely a good one. Now this one has a depth of flavor that, a tomato normally grown under these conditions would not have, because they're adding that one nutrient that I talked about. And that nutrient that basically got these plants to come back alive, that has been actually fed in through the irrigation system once a week, and these plants are watered 3 times a day, is simply this. This is actually called the Ocean Solution Mineralizer 203. So what this is ocean water that is then diluted down into water, 1 ounce per 1 gallon of water. In addition, this is a 203 mixture with added nitrogen and potash from a natural chelated source already inside the solution. They also do have a solution without the 2 and without the 3 if you just want the pure ocean water. Now, why this is so beneficial is because just like us, the plants need their trace minerals. I mean, you might think you need to get your trace minerals from a Centrum tablet, but in nature, we would get the minerals from the earth, from ground up rocks, from, the soils when before the white man came did have these trace minerals in it, but with all the soil erosion and washing away, the soils no longer have these trace minerals. And when you give the plants the trace minerals in the form of, rock dust, ground up rocks, or even better because it's more absorbable to some extent, the liquid seawater like the ocean solutions that they used here, the plants come to life and check it out, start flowering, start producing, and start producing tastier crops. And it's tastier because now the minerals that the plant absorbs, which it needs to be healthy, is also now in the fruit, and that makes the fruit or the vegetables taste better. Now, besides just putting the solution into the watering system, there's another way plants can absorb their nutrients. And next, we're going to go ahead and show you how that is. Alright, so as you guys can see, I'm foliar feeding the plants. So besides absorbing things through the roots, the plants can also absorb things through the leaves. And just like if you stuck your hand or spilled some gasoline on your hand, you might try to scrub your hand as much as you can, but you'll never get that gasoline smell out because our skin will absorb things too, like gasoline. But the plant leaves will also absorb things like we're spraying on today here. This is actually the Ocean Solutions mixture that is now being sprayed on, so the minerals can now get basically transpired and absorbed by the plant through its leaves. So this is also done once a week in addition to feeding the nutrient solution to the roots. So the plant is getting a double dose of minerals, and that's the reason the farmer attributes these plants to coming back to life and being very productive and, more importantly, really tasty. Next, what we're going to do is actually go into the main barn area and show their little store setup where they sell a lot of the produce that is grown here if you're not you picking it. Of course, if you're coming to the you pick farm, I always recommend you guys pick it yourself for the highest vitality and freshness and best flavor. But they have a lot of other cool things going on that we're going to look at after that, including some of the kids areas that you can have some fun with your kids at and give them the total farm experience. In addition here, they do farm tours for classes and families to show and teach how the food is grown because, unfortunately, many kids in today's day and age believe that food comes from the McDonald's or from the Walmart and not from Mother Earth like they're growing here. Now we're going to go inside the big red barn here, and this is where they sell the produce that is grown here and some other produce, but also this is where you're going to buy the tickets for the train and some of the other activities that they have on site. So let's come inside and check it out. Now we're inside the stand here where they basically have different displays of produce that they're selling, and it looks really nice and decorated well in here. In addition, they have the you pick and how much things cost if you pick it. So man, collard greens here, 99 cents a pound. Man, if I lived in this area, I don't know if I'd grow stuff. I'd just come here to buy it because you could pick it yourself and it's totally fresh. Daikon radishes, 89 cents a pound. Some other cool things that they're selling, man, the field-grown broccoli, 119 a pound. Snow peas, 2.99 a pound. Man, those things you sell for a lot more. They got eggplant, 99 cents a pound. Kohlrabi, 79 cents a pound. Don't forget to pick the kohlrabi with the greens and use the greens and eat them in a salad or juice them or blend them on up so that you can get more greens into you. Now, besides the you pick and the things they have in the back and a little gift area, this is where you'll also buy some of the tickets to the train and amusement rides and other areas here, the petting zoo, that we're going to explore just a few of them. Because, part of the motto of this farm, besides growing food, is they want to get the families out here and bring the families back together. The owner believes that, kids are far too much on the Wii and all these different, online games and whatnot. They want to get kids back out into nature. So they have a petting zoo, a train, and more importantly, activities that kids can do that actually get them involved and get them physical activity. Because, nowadays, even in schools, they're taking physical activities out with all these budget cuts. But kids really need to get back to nature. And I think there's no better field trip you can give them than to bring them out to a farm so they can not only see where the food comes from, pick where it comes from, but also have a fun time at the same time. So let's head outside and check out some of these cool activities. Choo-choo, I'm on the train. Actually, I am the conductor. You want to get on the train and start growing your own food? Well, they have a train here that the kids can ride, and if my brother's kid, who's a 3-year-old, he loves trains, he was out here, he totally want to ride this train. But, it's not running right now because we're a little bit here after hours giving you guys a behind-the-scenes tour. We still got to get to just a few more things they have for kids, and then we're going to actually get into the hydroponics, which is the whole reason why I came to this farm today. The next thing I want to show you guys that they have for kids are the duck races powered by a hand pump to get kids doing physical activity. So you're gonna take your duck here, put it in there, and you're gonna pump the water as fast as you can, and your duck's gonna travel down, and it's gonna come back and return, and you gotta see if you can get your duck down there the fastest. And I challenge any of you guys to beat me, because I can pump water faster than anybody I know. This is fun. I'd have a great time here if I was a kid. All right, we're having fun here on some of the toys here. I mean, this is literally a little pedal car that the kids could ride here to get some good exercise. Behind me there, you can see the petting zoo where kids can get more familiar with the animals. But the thing I'm most excited about next is actually the corn cannon that you can shoot corn cobs at targets. Man, that must be at least 50 feet away. I could only wish there was a fun place like this that I could come out as a kid and learn about growing food and how it's grown, but also have fun. I mean, even as an adult, I'm having a blast here. This is a cool place. You got to come out if you're anywhere in South Florida. So here where they got the corn cannon, we're going to go ahead and fire a piece of corn out this cannon that's running off compressed air. Whoa, that was so cool, man. I could just sit here all day and do this stuff. Oh, and look, the dog even chases it and brings it back. This is a great tool if you got dogs to keep them exercised. All right, next we're gonna go ahead and look at that hydroponic setup that I came here originally to see. Now I'm in the area of the farm where actually they start all their little plant starts here. They seed them up in these little trays here. And besides just planting these out in the fields, they also will sell some plant starts, and they're gonna soon start a nursery here to sell even more plant starts to get local people growing some food. And they're even growing things like the moringa, which is actually quite rare, so I'm really happy they're doing that. But the reason why I came here today is to show you guys what's growing in the background. I don't know if you see all the way back there, you see some PVC tubes with some little net pots growing all kinds of lettuce. You guys saw earlier the lettuce in the fields because of the weather here and the climate. It's starting to get bitter and starting to bolt, but the lettuce they just planted like 3 weeks ago is doing amazing in this hydroponic system. So I'm gonna go ahead and share with you guys what they're doing and how they're doing it so that you can do it too. I mean, this is not rocket scientists. Even a police officer could put one of these systems together. Now what you guys are looking at is the hydroponic system here that has over 700 planting sites. And each planting site has, for the most part, lettuces. Lettuce is a difficult thing to grow in this climate at this time of year due to the hot weather. But because they are growing these in little net pots in all water, it keeps it a lot cooler. Plus it's underneath the shade of the shade cloth above. Now the amazing thing is not that they're doing this because you know people grow hydroponics all the time, but the cool thing is this is driven by only one nutrient and water. That's the amazing thing that just blows my mind, and how well these guys are doing just after a few weeks in this system. So what we're gonna go ahead and do next is actually show you guys how they're growing in this system, how they're exactly doing it so that you can duplicate this at home if you want on a much smaller scale. Now I'm going to share with you more in depth how they created the system. Number one thing you'll need is a tank or a reservoir. They're using a big drum here. I don't know, I think it's like a 500 gallon. They only got it filled halfway to about 250 gallons, but you don't even need one that big. They could use one maybe like 55 gallons. The most important thing is you want to line it, make sure it's lined with black. If it's not lined with black, the sun will get in there, which will cause algae growth, which is an unknown factor. And you don't want to bring any external factors in because that might mess up your growing chances of growing successfully. So all they have is actually a pump in there. The pump pumps up the water through this pipe here, which then gets distributed through this system here. And they got ball valves that control the flow rate if they need to do that. They could turn it all the way up to let a lot of water in, or turn it off to stop the water, or just simply turn off the pump. So how they set this pump to go off is basically they got it going on 12 hours a day, 1 hour each cycle. So basically it's on for an hour, off for an hour, on for an hour, off for an hour, all day long, 24 hours a day. And if you do that, this is what you get. You get beautiful looking plants. Now, before I go on and talk more about the plants and how they got this set up, I want to talk about the piping they're using. This is standard PVC piping. This is the same piping you can go down to your local Home Depot or Lowe's or hardware store and buy. They got the 3-inch PVC here that they took a nice little drill bit, circular bit, and drilled holes in, I don't know, maybe like every 6 to 8 inches or so. It depends on the crop you're growing, tomatoes, you want a tighter space, and if you're growing radishes, you could probably get away with a closer spacing. And they're growing these guys. And this is the root system on there. I mean, that root system, man, must be at least, I don't know, maybe 5-6 inches there. And just 2 weeks ago, it looked like this. The little transplant here with the seed starting mix, which is a peat-based mix. Now, in my opinion, they don't have enough media here in the little grow pots. They might want to add some more. But despite that, look how well this is doing in just 2 weeks. Now, why did they get this kind of growth here? Because they just are using some well water here in the area, and they're only adding one additional thing. The one thing they're adding is this stuff, the Ocean Solution 203. What this adds is 90 trace minerals to the water. And when those 90 trace minerals are added to the water, I mean, this is literally all the plants are absorbing. The 2 and the 3 are the nitrogen and the potash, as well as all other 90 minerals that are contained within here. And these are the minerals that are actually feeding the plants. I mean, most conventional farmers add NPK. This is adding the N, no P, and the K here, but also 90 other minerals in small amounts. And these are the minerals that the plants need to fully thrive. As you can see, they're doing just that here in this system. Now, to get further into how the system was created, we got these PVC pipes here that are just 3 inches. They drill the holes and they put end caps on both ends. Now on the other end, which we'll show you in a minute, you'll see they have a hole where it comes out. So these pipes always have about halfway full of water. And you know, every hour, once again, the water is allowed to flow through and hit the roots to provide them the nutrients they need to start doing some amazing growth. Now, besides the lettuce, which is the majority of what's in here because they have the hardest challenge growing lettuce in the fields, they're also growing things like tomatoes for fun to see what would happen. I like that the owner here and the farmer experiments with a lot of different varieties that are unknown and not known, and he tries different growing methods to see what was going to work. Because although he may have the old school mentality, this is what I've done for, 20 years, I want to stick with it because it works, he also has a mentality that, hey, there might be something better, new around the corner, and I got to keep up to date with the technology and the growing things, or I'm going to get outdated like that old Apple MacBook. So here's a tomato, as you can see, and it's growing like these nice long roots under this same system, feeding nothing more than the Ocean Solution 203. And that, in my opinion, is truly the testament of the power of the trace minerals. Whether you're growing now and whatever you're growing in, if you add the Ocean Solution with the 90 trace minerals, you're going to get amazing results. Your food's going to taste better. It's going to be more pest and disease resistant. And also, it's going to yield more. And as you're seeing here, grow faster. Next, let's take a look at the end of the system to show you how they end cap it off. And you can see that return pipe that comes back to fill up the reservoir here. Now what we're looking at is the end of the system, the opposite end, and actually this system's like 80 feet long. I challenge one of you guys to make a system 100 feet long, and they got 6 different PVC pipes here. Once again, there's about 110 plants or so in each row here, so that's definitely a lot of plants, and that's going to yield a lot for the farmer here. But more importantly, feed the people here in the local area, because they also run a CSA that you can subscribe to if you don't grow your own food. And I always recommend you guys buying local food, especially if you're not growing it yourself, because that's definitely the best food, rather than buying stuff shipped in all the way from California. I mean, we're on the other coast, man. That's so much transportation. Plus, as food travels, the nutrient levels go down, and that's why overall I recommend you guys grow your own food so that you can have the best food grown by your hands. In any case, here's the end of the system here. You can see they cap it off and they have a return line. All these return lines go into one, and it just basically goes back all the way down. And in here, you're not seeing is that basically the water level is about half the pipe. So, I mean, this is a very simple system. It's just the 3-inch PVC pipes. One end has the water going into it. It's staying about halfway full, and the end, just basically, this is a gravity on this end. It just flows back to the reservoir. And all these pipes here are basically at the same level so that there's always some standing water in the bottom. Once again, this system is simply amazing. I mean, just to look at it all the way down is beautiful to see. I mean, On this side alone, there's over 300 little lettuce plants, and that'll feed a lot of people. Now, for you and your family, you don't even need a system this big. If you just have 4 of you guys and you want to eat 1 head a day, what's that? 4 times 30 is 120. You have a system with 120 planting spots. You could literally feed your family of 1 head of lettuce a day. So for the average family, the average family does not eat a lot of lettuce, and I want to get the lettuce and the leafy green consumption up, and by growing it yourself, you could easily produce the amount your family needs. Of course, if you are doing this inside your home, you need to be aware that you will need to use supplemental lighting for best results. Just the standard lighting, not going to do it too well. Maybe you have a nice long window you could put this system in with a good sun. It'll also do well, but besides this, the nutrients, plants need sunlight to photosynthesize. We've come to the end of this video. I'm so sad I gotta be leaving. I wish I could have spent more time actually on some of these kids' activities. They got all these cool little mazes and math puzzles and all these kind of cool stuff to play with. But the sun's going down. I'm actually getting hungry. I gotta get out of here, and pretty soon I won't be able to film anymore because it'll be too dark anyways. Here's another shot of this system here with all over 700 little baby plants. And I'm really happy that I got to share this with you guys to let you guys know that you can do it. But more importantly, I'm actually happy that the farmer here is now, slowly creeping into growing organically. And his first, introduction to that was these guys, the trace minerals. Trace minerals are really important. Whether you're growing conventionally and add these in, you're going to get results. In my opinion, it's even better to add these to an organic gardening system, ensuring you use a lot of organic matter, rich organic matter like compost, worm castings, kelp meal, the beneficial microbes and bacteria. If you check my other videos on YouTube, you'll find out more when I talk about these kinds of things. But no matter what, you always want to have an open mind and try. I'm really also happy that the salesman originally came into this farm and said, hey, let me try this stuff at no cost to you. I'll come out and apply it. I'll do it, and you'll get to see the results. If it doesn't work, you could laugh in my face and I'll get out of here. But if it works, hey, maybe you might want to start expanding the use of this stuff into other areas of your farm. And so far, there's a commitment from the farmer to start adding the trace minerals to the farm. And you guys don't know how happy I am to hear that, because today's modern agriculture system is only adding 3 minerals back into the soil. So we're growing all this mineral devoid food in our standard agriculture system. Now, by using the minerals like this, we can increase the health of the plants, and when people eat the foods, it's going to increase the health of the people. So I hope that the farmer here is also including a lot of his homegrown food as well, so that they can also get a lot healthier by growing and also eating their greens. Finally, the last thing I want to say is that, the farmer here has been using the Ocean Solution 203. Ocean Solution also has the standard Ocean Solution product that I have personally used in the past with great results. And you can go to their website, oceansolution.com, and order the Ocean Solution. Make sure you use the discount code GYG for an additional 10% off. So anyways, I hope you guys truly enjoyed this episode. If you are anywhere in South Florida, even traveling through, you definitely want to visit this farm. It's an amazing place. You can get a tour, have your kids entertained, eat some fresh food, and see some of these hydroponic systems they're using. Pretty soon he's going to actually expand this concept into the public area where he's going to grow herbs throughout the year, and it's going to be an amazing system. It's going to be one of those showstoppers is what I like to say. In any case, got to get going. Once again, my name is John Kohler with growingyourgreens.com. We'll see you next time, and remember, keep on growing.